for someday? Ready to finally start living your best life right now?
You're in the right place. I'm David.
And I'm Wendy.
And this is the David and Wendy podcast. We're your life coaches here to move you from the excuses to action.
From mastering your mindset to finding real joy, we're keeping it real, raw, and maybe just a little ridiculous.
Let's get into it, Wendy.
Let's go, David.
Welcome back to the David and Wendy podcast. Today's episode is about people pleasing. What does that mean when you hear it? And why do people do it? And is it even a bad thing?
Well, this is definitely an interesting topic. There's been a lot of buzz lately. I've heard it for a few years now about the negative side of being a people pleaser. And I know for me personally, this started really, I guess, when I was a young girl. I didn't realize it at the time, of course. But, I often think children want to do really what makes their parents happy, not rock the boat or, make people mad or upset. I was always considered the good girl, doing what others liked and accommodating them and not really going against the grain at all. I just always alluded it to that I'm easygoing, flexible, compliant,
Right.
I think about it now, and as I became aware, I think, at what cost was that all for? Because I was never taught, and it's not, I grew up in a great household. I often tell people I'd give anything to go back. But I wasn't really ever taught how to stand up for myself, or, what is it that Wendy wants to do? What would make me happy? And like I said, there's nothing wrong with my upbringing. Matter of fact, I just thought that I was doing the right thing and being respectful, especially of my parents. Yeah. And because they did the best they knew how. So.
Yeah. And that's all they know, right? That's
Right.
all they knew, because that's all their parents knew. And until you become aware of how the machine works,
Right.
then you just keep doing the same old thing from inside the box. But so how do we become a people pleaser? I think what we refer to as a people pleasing person, it has a negative implication, right? It comes from an unbalanced position with typically, right, no personal boundaries.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
It starts with, the seeking of extrinsic approval or source of confidence, trying to find all that stuff like we talked last week outside. And we can do the same thing from a balanced position, right? We see how we are leading and taking care of others and what needs to happen.
Yeah.
But always keeping true to our boundaries. Right? Both examples can look very similar, but it's the mindset that's different. Because from the imbalanced mindset, you are doing the best you can for others without consideration for yourself, just looking for approval or outside support, right? And that's the result of that. At best, is burnout.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? So when we find a way to balance that mindset, we come from a place of confidence and wanting the best for all involved, including ourselves. We are coming from the heart, and when we're taking everybody into consideration, including ourselves.
Yeah.
And when we do this kind of thing, we can actually come away from it feeling energized and empowered, or even just, settled and feeling good. All went as best as possible, even if we're physically worn out and tired afterwards, right?
Right.
Yeah, you feel good.
Absolutely.
You feel good about it, and you feel confident about it. When you leave yourself out, right, for the stereotypical people pleaser, when we say that as a negative implication, right? That's where, again, the burnout comes from. and you typically get the opposite feelings that you were even looking for,
Mm.
including resentment, right? And
Oh, yeah.
maybe feeling out, right?
Yeah.
Feeling left out, I meant.
Hmm.
And it doesn't do much for your confidence. And
This is such a great point, David, because I have found myself resenting others when I was just doing something, to please them and not considering my own thoughts and feelings around the situation. And wow, I'm glad
mhm.
I have an awareness now, but I wished, if we could go back 20, hindsight's wonderful, but
Yeah,
um I do find this to be quite troublesome and but now, however, I have an awareness around this topic and really thinking about all the aspects of each situation and all of the people involved, not just the other person and not just myself, but rather, like you said, David, doing what's best for all involved.
right,
Yeah. So,
right.
yeah.
The same situation may happen or may not because you
Hmm.
opted out because of boundaries. But either way, you feel good about it because you come from the heart as opposed to desperation is really
Yeah.
that other mindset. It may not always work out for the way you envisioned it, but having the right mindset creates a I did the best I could feeling from that, which otherwise could have been I failed or
Mm.
even feeling right if I did a
Yeah.
bad job, I'm going to be kicked out of the tribe, right? That anxiety about they're going to
Yeah.
that whole thing. So I didn't
Was
do
it?
enough or whatever.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference, in doing the best, saying to yourself, "I did the best I could," versus, "Ugh, I failed," or having anxiety around it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah. So
so true.
the confidence and balanced people pleasing comes from, and really, as does your entire life experience, how you feel about yourself.
Mm,
And
mhm.
so, as an exercise, can you look at yourself in the eyes, in the mirror, and say to yourself, I love you, which,
Mm,
you know, that's can be a challenge, but saying it and both mean it
mm,
genuinely and then accept it from yourself, right?
yeah.
When you can, it almost always creates a smile on your face.
Mhm.
However, if that's a challenge to some degree, then that is your practice.
Mm,
That is where you start.
mhm.
And as you get better at this practice, just this practice, you now start to notice a change in how you experience your life. And the best part is the change feels normal and natural because you are now coming from the heart and recognizing who you are and your value.
Mm. That's beautifully said, David. I really like that. Coming from the heart, you really can't go wrong if you're coming from the heart
Mhm.
and just, recognizing that we all hold value, not just the people
Right.
we're interacting with, but we ourselves have a lot of value. And I think that that is definitely linked to that confidence, how we feel about ourselves. Yeah. And that plays a huge role in all of our life experiences. It's really about having, I guess, self-respect and integrity, that they're so important. They're very important character traits, to have for yourself. So I guess in conclusion, by including ourselves in the equation when making decisions about different situations, we're showing ourselves respect and integrity. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you are coming from the heart and you coming from that internal confidence and that internal self-respect and integrity, you it really puts you in a place where you can be compassionate for people who are not. Instead of wanting to argue or fight with them, you
Mm,
can, again, compassion doesn't mean forgiving them or putting up with them. It
Right.
just means you can understand where, where this is all coming from.
Exactly. Yes.
There's
So true.
a quote I like from Peace Pilgrim that says, "Life is like a mirror. Smile at it and it smiles back at you."
Oh, so beautiful.
So this brings us to our topic for next week, which is growing self-respect and self-integrity. All right, that's the show for this week. We hope you are feeling motivated, like you're ready to take on the world.
If you got value today, do us a huge favor. Like and subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us reach more people just like you.
You can find all our info in the show notes and connect with us at our website, thedavidandwendypodcast.com.
We'll see you next week. And remember, always be kind, loving, and compassionate to everyone you meet.